Any of those platforms like Facebook or TikTok, they could go away at any time. However, if you've already captured a customer base from these platforms into your email platform, then you have the ability to target your customers through email because you own that, you own that data. Versus like Facebook, you're always trying to get in front of new people for the most part, and you're relying on them to find your audience. So that's why I think email is paramount for a lot of digital marketing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Philly Made podcast, the podcast where we build community by learning more about our fellow Philly friends in the business world. I'm your host, Shannon, Penji's partnership coordinator, and I'm joined here today with Dan Vogel, founder and president of DBV Marketing, an agency that offers marketing services to small businesses. Thank you so much for coming on with me.
Thank you for having me.
And sorry for the mess up on the name. This is, it's already so hard to say fellow Philly friends. I don't know why that was put
Hard for me to say it to you sometimes as well, so don't feel bad. It's my own name, so that's the worst part.
Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got to this point, and a little bit about your agency?
Sure, yeah. I am Dan Vogel. I have started my agency about 7 years ago, and before that, I'd been all over the place. A little bit of computer science, a little bit of finance, a little bit of business development, and then realized marketing, and more specifically digital marketing, is where I wanted to be. And then DBV Marketing kind of formed with digital marketing in mind. And most recently, the iteration that is kind of like what I do now is that I help businesses grow utilizing digital marketing, advertising, and more specifically, I utilize social media, ad platforms, and email marketing to help them achieve what they want to achieve, like more clients, more sales, and that's what I do.
Perfect. So is your strategy catered to, well, I would hope that everything is catered to each person individually, but do you kind of use all these avenues for each person, or do you ever choose a specific one to go down because that makes sense for the specific company that you're working with?
In most instances, platforms like Facebook or TikTok are the amount of people that are on there that those platforms are good enough for almost any client, whether you're a business to business client or a business to consumer client, B2C. Your audience are on these platforms, and these are just platforms to kind of like introduce yourselves to a client or you can convert them later. But also, email is the big platform where you're able to then nurture your current clients as well. So email is good for everybody. And that's your owned audience, which helps you get in front of and nurture your audience on a consistent basis.
Okay. Why do you think email is the most important?
As much as my business relies on outside platforms that I don't control, like the data or the customers or the users that are on there, any of those platforms like Facebook or TikTok, they could go away at any time. So that's dramatic. However, if you've already captured a customer base from these platforms into your email platform, then you have the ability to target your customers through email because you own that, you own that data. Versus like Facebook, you're always trying to get in front of new people for the most part, and you're relying on them to find your audience. So that's why I think email is paramount for a lot of digital marketing.
That makes a lot of sense because everyone has an email. Not everyone has a Facebook. Not everyone has a TikTok. I know I don't use Facebook. I consider it obsolete in for my generation of people. I know there's so many people that are my age that do use Facebook regularly. It's not even on the forefront of my mind. I have it on my phone, and I don't think I've ever, in the past several, I liked a bunch of happy birthdays. That's like all I do because my mom gets mad at me if I don't acknowledge happy birthday messages, cousins or aunts and uncles and whatnot. But
like Facebook's just for older people.
It's not. It's not necessarily. It's just not my social media. I used it when I was probably 12 until I was maybe middle Instagram.
Go to the corner of my bedroom and cry about how I feel old.
Yeah, no, I don't feel that way. So I know a lot of people my age that do use it regularly, actually probably more than Instagram and different things like that. Especially, I think it's a testament too of that there are definitely majority age ranges though on different social medias like that. Like TikTok probably doesn't have a lot of people or many people over the age of 30. They do, but it's not the biggest audience.
Yeah.
Target audience is probably
Yep.
My age and lower, or probably a lot of teenagers.
Yep. One thing you mentioned how Instagram and Facebook are different, but they're actually owned by the same company, Meta.
I know, this was crazy.
And so when you're doing ads, they can diverge into those different platforms, which is a nice thing about those platforms. It's ad platforms
Yeah, it's
for marketing purposes. Yeah.
it's very interesting because I'll only use one, but I know that they're connected. You can also like connect your account on both of them.
Yeah.
I'd rather not because I think the last time I've posted on Facebook I was 13. So I don't want anyone on my updated other social media to be looking at my Facebook and thinking I still look like that. I would hope.
Yeah.
So do you think, you said that you had a financial background before this, of like checked out your LinkedIn, and I was wondering if you think that gives you a leg up in the marketing world, because I know a lot of people will go to start a business or an agency or whatever it may be, and having a background in a certain field is very helpful.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Throughout my career, I've learned what I didn't want to focus 100% of my time on. I learned that computer science was not for me. I was not going to make a career out of that. However, I still use bits and pieces of things that I learned in computer science. With finance, didn't love that. I felt like I was not able to interact with human beings as frequently as I wanted to. However, the numbers background really helps with a lot of the data-driven marketing elements that I focus on now. And those two kind of things are, while you don't think of marketing as like numbers or as technical, there are definitely elements within digital marketing that are very technical when it comes to websites or when it comes to accurately tracking platforms and their conversion events. There are technical elements, and being able to analyze numbers is really important. I used to think that marketing was very creative based, and I had crossed that off my list of things I wanted to do when I was in my mid-20s. I was like, there's no way I could do that. I'm not a creative person. But then after going when I was in grad school, I learned in a very tough, but very tough in a good way, in a course that I learned a lot about marketing, is that marketing is very data driven. You need to be able to understand if your campaigns are working, and if there's if you have an ROI or a return on your investment for everything you're doing. So in the marketing I'm doing now, which is very performance marketing based, where I'm getting leads and profitable leads for clients, I need to be able to tell them if it's working or not. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job. So I hope that answers that question.
No, it does. I think it's funny the thing that you said about creativity, because I tell my boss almost every other day that I'm not creative. He'll be like, "Oh, like we're making a new podcast. Can you think of a name?" Or genuinely just affiliate codes. Like, "Oh, make a fun affiliate code for this person." I'm like, I send him something. He's like, "Okay, I understand. Stick to the podcast."
I also learned there are a lot of different pieces of creativity, and while it may not be making names or copywriting or making good puns, which I can do none of, there's other creative elements of just like understanding maybe like a demographic that might help makes you use another part of your brain that maybe you had not ever used before. So even though I claim that I was never creative before, I'm making ads now, and I'd never done that 5 years ago, and I'm making AI imagery that are ads on Facebook, and here we are. I have a creative element which never existed, or I never found it in my brain before.
Well, marketing is a constant learning experience.
Yes.
So that's great. I think that it is. I don't know if it's made me more creative. Maybe a little. I don't know. It's funny too because I don't consider a lot of things creative, whereas other people do. I suppose like artistically, I can very easily copy something but I can't create something out of thin air. That's unique. I think that I'm not good at visualizing things that are out of the blue, which I think is that's what I consider to be creativity.
You need inspiration.
Yes, I need inspiration from something else, which maybe is just copying, but
Oh, inspiration. You're not copying it word for word or image for image. You're making it different and better and your own.
exactly.
It's your stamp.
Yeah, that's I think there's some comedian that said something like, if everyone's copying, you just have to do it better. Yep. Hey,
Doing something right.
it's impossible to create something original at this point, and
That's true.
just
Yeah.
gotta take inspiration and build off of that or do something better. And that's marketing and advertising for short.
Enough.
So what do you think? Okay, so you've had your company for what is about 7 years now, 6 or 7?
Sure, one of those. That sounds fair.
But you should probably be the expert on.
It probably, but I think you've reached 7 years officially, but I really haven't done it full time that long. It's only been about 4-ish years full time. So started as a little side hustle, working after my main job during the day, and I would come home at night and work from like 8:30 to 11 on my laptop in bed watching something silly on TV, and then turn into something real because it was time to make us serious and stop being beholden to other people for my career.
Well, that's really good. So if you were to give advice to someone that is starting their own company, what do you think would be helpful?
I think there's probably a couple of recommendations, but I think the first step would be to utilize your network and utilize the people that you know, whether they're in your industry or not. Everyone knows more than me. I know that for sure. So like everyone can give me advice about something. And that always helps me grow. And when you're a solopreneur, you're not always you're inclined to stay in your hole and do nothing except work within the business. But it's important to have other people there chirping at you, giving you advice, helping you think about things that are, that help you grow the business. So really utilizing your network to help you find business or just to get advice or just to think outside the box. Because like you said, like creativity, you can get inspired from anything or everything if you just talk to people. So that's my main piece of advice for someone else. And then if there's any other advice for starting a business, I think another important thing that it's tough to kind of take this leap from going from like a corporate job into maybe solopreneurship or your own, when you start your own business, is that when you're in a corporate role, I found that people really didn't respect my prior knowledge as much as I wanted them to, or respect me as the expert. And maybe they were right, and maybe I was less, and maybe, like I said before, I'm not the smartest person, so like, maybe they were right. However, as you grow into running your own business, you are the expert. Like, give yourself more credit. And that's like a hurdle people have to get over, is like, people trust you and they're hiring you to do a job because they trust you and they think that you know what you're doing. And you probably do. You just have anxiety and don't want to think you do. So those are kind of the two things. Talk to everybody and believe in yourself. Okay.
No, you're right. Believe in yourself that you can answer that. That was beautiful. And no, I think that I also think it's important to be humble in the way that you know you're not always the smartest person in the room. And no one should be treating you like you're less than just because maybe you're not the smartest person in the room. That doesn't make you not less of an expert. I don't know. I think that is a problem with the corporate world, is that like not enough people. One, I don't think there's enough transparency because people don't want to share their secrets, or they don't want to seem like they're ever faulting, or that they're ever, not being perfect. And I think that yeah, of course, like you shouldn't be advertising yourself crying on your company's social media.
Read LinkedIn posts.
And maybe you can. I love, my favorite LinkedIn posts are the ones that are like, my wife divorced me. Here are 5 business tips that you can to grow your business after this happened. As I love those. Those are so funny. But I do think that there's something that's really important about, like being the balance of being confident in what you can do, but also understanding that you always have a lot to learn.
Yep. Yeah. And I think I want to add one more thing to that. A third piece that kind of goes along with the other two, but it's over communication and overly communicating really every step of the way, because you're probably the expert when you're starting a business. The people you work with, whether they are or are not the experts, they probably are not because they hired you to help. But explaining to them in the kindest way possible. Like, definitely, I always like to be explained to like I'm a 5-year-old, and I appreciate that. And so I try to do the same thing but like, not talking down to anybody, just like that's what that like. I thought of
Surprising way.
everyone's clear about like expectations and about what we're doing, so that like people are not shocked like later, like, oh, you told me we would get leads within 5 days. Well, I should have told you that it'll take like 10 days. That's a good example of like making sure that people understand so that there's no shock later, essentially. So communication is very important. Really, I mean, I feel like any point in your career, it's really important, but especially when you're like coming in to help companies as a small business, that's super important.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I love when things are explained as clearly as possible. I don't care if it takes longer or there's details that you think aren't that important. They might be important to the other person, they might be important to me. I think that is crucial. And it's also a good what's the word I'm looking for? Like safety guard almost, because if you send all this information to someone about what you're going to do and they choose not to read all of it, you know that you sent it, and if there's a misunderstanding, you could say, hey, I did send this to you clearly, and like that's something. It sucks to say that. It sucks to I told you so.
No, did your email say not to wear orange shirts on today?
It did actually. Like, that's your fault.
I am the worst.
Reading my email.
Jeez.
I did put it clear. Orange is distracting. The viewer paid it. We get constant comments of no orange shirts. Traffic cone
Ruins the whole time. Go.
It's okay. I can't have any opinions on style, as I have my electric box in the background. It's like the funniest thing to me ever. I'm looking for something to cover it.
Risky.
I haven't found something yet that's safe.
You're all somewhere. I don't know.
So do you have a favorite business that you've worked with, or maybe something that's kind of unique that has interested you, or like you haven't heard of before? It's my favorite question.
Yeah, I have worked with some. I have found a weird niche in this. I've worked with a couple of companies that work in the adult space.
I've heard this. This actually, like, this is way too common of the answer.
There have been companies that have worked in the adult merchandise space, and other companies that have worked in companies that sell PG-13 body parts. images of PG-13 body parts. So, what's I saying? Things I never thought I'd heard. Companies I never thought I'd work with. But we're out there and we need new customers.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's very funny. I'm sure you get a giggle here and there. That makes it more fun. I love that. It's very funny that that's constantly the answer that I get. I guess that they need advertising. I guess it's hard because I know that there's limits on the ways they can advertise. So
some of those categories are not allowed in some of the app platforms.
Yeah, there are limits.
Gotta be a little bit creative.
So what do you think? Okay, so this is Philly made, as this is the title at the top.
I like Philly.
I like Philly. You like Philly. So what do you think the positives are of owning a business in Philly?
Well, my business, even though it's based in Philly and I live in Philly and I love Philly, I don't think I have any clients currently that are inside of Philly. So a lot of my clients are outside of Philly and they have a lot of national reach. But the good part for me is that I don't have to travel anywhere to work and I get to walk around Philadelphia if I want to during the day. Which is great. And my daughter goes to school in Philly, I get to walk her to school every once in a while. Things like this when it's like fall weather, it's great versus it's not great when it's
excruciatingly hot. Yeah. Snowing.
But yeah, I know, not the answer you're looking for. Sorry, I don't have the.
No. So wait, so you said you had more national reach. How do you gain these clients? What's your strategy? Not going locally.
Yeah, it's all been referral. It's all been based off of people that I know referring me out to other companies that have worked with me, and they say you should work with Dan, and then I'm like, okay, and then we go from there. But yeah, no paid advertising yet. Not yet, but one day I'm sure. Maybe I'll start a podcast. Who knows? But probably not. Yeah, I'm all referral.
What's your strategy for gaining your referral then?
For a long time, it was a lot of utilizing LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn has a really strong organic reach where just by posting content and commenting on other people's stuff authentically, people see you and they're aware of what you offer and your services. But more recently, I kind of moved over, in addition to that, kind of work on more one-to-one outreach. I feel like on a personal level, I've done a poor job in my life of communicating with people that I know, that are not in my immediate sphere. So I feel like, me trying now to reach out, just to catch up with people, seeing what they're up to, has secondary effects for referrals. Some people be like, oh, Dan, I didn't realize you did this. We should talk about this. I'm like, cool. I just want to know if you're doing okay, but
nice.
Perfect. So I think it's been a nice touch to this is a piece of the business where I'm trying to focus less on the work and focus more on the community outreach or working with, chatting with people and friends and just making sure I have time for that part of my mental health as well.
That's nice. I think it's a very wholesome note because I don't know, a lot of people don't focus on the communication aspect or the, just being personable to your clients or potential clients or people that are just, around, that are friends that, you don't expect to become clients and you just have a good relationship with them.
Yep.
That's almost exactly what this podcast is for because, we make friends. And, if they ever need services like ours, then, they know about us. And that's really cool. But we're not shoving anything down your throat. We're just here to say hi and give you some nice chats.
Perfect.
So that was a really wholesome note, but I didn't get to ask you yet what are the negatives of owning a business in Philly, which maybe there's none because you don't source locally. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know if any of if I would work with anyone that would there are always going to be good and bad clients. I don't know if Philly would make a client worse. Philly fans are known for being ruthless, but I'm not sure that
Most aggressive fan base in the US.
I'm not sure that kind of translates into business ownership, but who knows? I don't know yet. But the negatives of being a business owner in Philly, I don't know. I've heard people complain about taxes, but honestly, it is what it is, and I like it. Setting up the business was like getting all the different paperwork in line to incorporate was weird. I felt like Philly could have done a better job communicating how to do that, or just me not reading properly. Who knows? But that's the only negative I could see of it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be to set up all the different elements to become a business. But now we're there.
That's when it's really good to have an accounting background.
More than that, more than just accounting, there's legal stuff you need too, which just going through it, I'm like, oh, people will be like, you need this. I'm like, oh, okay, good.
Okay, another thing.
Yeah.
I completely understand. I think that's kind of a rough thing that a lot of people have to go do when they start a business or an agency, but I don't know if it's better or worse in Philly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds great.
Which is stubborn. Yeah, 3 levels of all these different rules and regulations to follow. Federal, national, and state, and then city. So it's all these different things have different requirements.
Mhm.
Entities have different requirements. So
It's an adjustment. It seems really nice to start your own business, but then you gotta do all these steps. You gotta jump through all these hoops. They don't want everyone to have a business. So, we are now on to my favorite part of the podcast. Rapid fire questions about Philly. This is a quiz.
well,
No, I'm just kidding. It's not.
0 out of 10.
Is opinions. So, all right. What's the first word that you think of when you hear Philadelphia? You can think soft pretzels. Okay. That's actually surprisingly a new one, which is interesting because you think that it would be mentioned more. What celebrity do you think of when you think of Philadelphia?
Ooh. Bradley Cooper? He's from outside Philadelphia.
I didn't know that.
We went to Abington. I think he went to Abington High School, which is just outside New Philly. Or middle school, one of those, I think. Maybe it was Germantown. I don't know. Somewhere. No, it wasn't Germantown. Anyway, back to you.
It's also a new one. So, we're on fire.
Yeah, right. Or how about Rocky? Is that a real person?
The guy that wrote the script is a real person, which he's technically Rocky. He's technically actually. It's so funny. I live in Manayunk, and they have these really steep steps in my neighborhood, which is it's hilly, so they have to have communal steps. But I use them to exercise. I run up and down them for an hour, and it's my Rocky routine.
Do you have the Eye of the Tiger on your playlist on repeat?
I can't put in earbuds when I exercise because they just fall out.
Oh.
I can't listen.
Sorry.
I just have to be sad and breathe a bunch. It's motivating to have to eventually know that I'm gonna stop, and that's what gets me through.
There you go.
So, favorite cheesesteak spot?
Angelo's Pizza, I think is the full name of the place, but they have really good cheesesteaks. They make their own bread. They put Cooper Sharp on there. It's really top notch.
Well, that will be written down right now.
9th and Christian, don't forget.
For that, I will be going. Also, do they have good pizza though?
Yes, amazing pizza too.
Okay, I have yet to have a good New York style pizza in Philadelphia.
Well, you're looking for New York style pizza. That's the problem.
Or at least they can make it the same style. It's like they're not. I don't know what it is. It's something with a sauce. the sauce it's too sweet here. I don't know what's going on with that. But
Oh, yeah. You probably wouldn't like Lorenzo thing, which is like,
Lorenzo, actually, I worked at Lorenzo and Sons for 2 years in college.
whoa, amazing.
And I actually, okay, there's this one guy in the back, Poncho. I actually don't know if he still works there. I need to visit him. I loved working there. But the customers I could do without, depending on the day. I had stamps thrown at me sometimes.
Yeah.
But
It changed inside. You'd be much safer now.
oh no, I worked there when it was like that.
Well, yeah.
And it was not.
Well, mod thing. Okay.
There's a guy back there. His name is Poncho. He's worked there for like 20 years. I don't even know. I love him. He's amazing. He would make the best pizza out of every guy that worked back there. I don't know why. He was just like, he was amazing. Every time he made a fresh pizza, I was so sick of pizza. By 2 years in, I had to have a slice. Like, he just is magic. And his pizza is the best, but
Wow. So this means I have to request Poncho when I go there.
Poncho, I don't know if he works there anymore. He might have went back to Mexico. He was building a house for his parents.
I gotta find out now. Okay, noted.
He's a lovely man. He usually works on Sunday mornings. I don't know if he's still there, but it's okay. They fired their dough maker though, and it's not as good.
God.
He's worked there for like 30 years or something. I'm whispering as if people aren't gonna listen to this podcast. I mean, I hope that no one slanders their.
There's been some fantastic update about
I know. All the ins and outs of Lord.
Man.
But
Well, I know this isn't. I'm not interviewing you, but what would then be your favorite pizza place?
that's a great question. I actually just went to. This isn't in Philly, so I guess it doesn't count. I don't really love pizza in Philly. Have disappointed me left and right. I don't really. I'll go to a place with pizza that has a bunch of toppings, like Pizza Vera Vetri, that you spend an arm and a leg to get food. And it's like $50 for like a pizza this size, but it's fantastic. I would prefer a pizza that had a bunch of things on it, because the plain pizza, I have been sorely disappointed many times.
Okay, I hope for your sake you find the right place.
I know. Well, I have to go to Angelo's now and see.
There's always a lion.
That's messed
So
up.
it's not each Forest line that you see at Passaginos.
Yes, that's good. Oh,
It's not
speaking of,
expensive.
what's the one small business that you frequent the most? It can also be food, but it can't be Angelo's.
I would say the small business that I frequent the most is Rival Bros Coffee. They have a couple of locations. I usually get my coffee beans from there, and then usually it's on the way to our daughter's school, so we stop there every once in a while. We'll get her either a hot chocolate or some kind of very sugary lemonade, or this big, because she loves it. And get her like yogurt or a breakfast there on the way to school. But yeah,
Love
they Rival Bros has done a great job with their coffee, and they opened up a restaurant recently called Ends Well, which we just had for the first time. And it was fantastic.
Wow.
Highly recommend.
Okay, well, I will be writing that down too. I love coffee. I miss my favorite coffee place is Rook, and they only have locations in New Jersey, but I miss it so much. If you're ever in New Jersey and you want some coffee, Rook is so amazing. Beautiful. They have a little crow on the front. It's adorable.
Lovely.
So, what is your favorite place? Okay, it could be the Angelo's, but different answer preferred. Because I love all my recommendations. Favorite place to go for a drink or a meal?
I'll start with the meal answer. Currently, it's been like months of this answer probably. This place called Her Place, which is like they do 2 seatings a day at 6 p.m. and 8:30. We're always a 6 p.m. seating when we go, because there's no way we can make it past 8:30. They're very efficient. You're out of there by like 8:10. But yeah, it's a new menu every week or two, and it's all very fresh local ingredients, and it's got all the vibes. I sound stupid saying that, but
It's got all the vibes. No, I mean, it's got all the vibes probably. I don't see a.
yeah,
Okay,
we sound cool.
yeah. It does make you sound cool. Also, no, you're doing great. If you were to change something about Philly, what would you change?
Yeah, I love Philly. I would love it if there was a more robust public transit system, specifically of the underground variety. A more robust subway that goes to more spots, that like maybe told you times like other cities do when it's arriving or when it's not arriving.
No, just
Maybe like fans down there, because sometimes in the summer it's like incredibly gross underground. But yes, that's Philly's getting there. I mean, they opened up at least a new station on the subway over the past year, I think, and
I didn't know that.
Union Square reopened it. It was closed for like years.
Okay, so it's not
Have not. It is built to be new, but
crazy.
yeah, new lines, new like subway lines would probably be beneficial.
That would be beautiful.
Expensive.
Yeah, sounds expensive, and they have money. They just gotta move it around. They're not putting it in the right places. I've seen the funding model.
All right.
It's perks of having one of the former mayors of Philadelphia be your professor in college is amazing.
Whoa.
Yes. Mayor Street.
Hey.
Yes, it was very cool.
What was the course?
Great question. Something government related. I did not remember the name of it. It was a great class. So I learned a lot. I just can't remember the name because I can't remember anything.
Bye-bye 101. Got it.
Government? Yep, exactly. It's like my whole major. So last one. What's your favorite neighborhood in Philly?
Man, I live in Graduate Hospital, which I love. However, if I had to pick a neighborhood outside of that, I really love the Passyunk East area vibe. It's got a lot of fun things in that area. It's very walkable. I can even walk there from my house, which is great. And a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, a lot of little itty bitty shops. Yeah, it's great. It's like the untapped gem. But now that it's on this podcast, it's gonna blow up. So probably shouldn't have mentioned it.
No, I understand. My sister used to live by there. Have you ever been to Bing Bing Dim Sum? Every time I think about it, it was like my favorite restaurant in the whole city. I would go everywhere. I've taken multiple first dates there because it's my favorite place on the earth. I probably shouldn't say it on the podcast. Hopefully,
for the listeners, this will be recorded in September. It's 2024, and Bing Bing closed in July or August of 2024.
It's so upsetting.
Very sad.
It was so good. It's like the first place my sister ever took me out to Philly. She's older than me, and she's been living here since I don't even know, like for 12 years or something.
Yeah, every type of like food that business they had a couple of restaurants over the time. They don't have any anymore, but they had a couple of concepts. They were all really brilliant and delicious. But you know what? The sad thing is, the restaurant industry is really tough. Hard to pay people a livable wage and have good profit margins, or
exactly
profitable even, which sucks. I wish that model was different somehow.
I agree. Reopen Bing Bing Dim Sum. Let's create a GoFundMe. Listeners, send that over. Oh, well, this is all the time we have today. We're actually a little overtime, but here's about that. Thank you so much for coming on with me today. I really appreciate it. This is absolutely lovely.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And getting all these recommendations, I'm sure our listeners will appreciate if they're also from Philly, but I surely appreciate them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, you've been a lovely guest. And everyone at home, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See more professionals like Dan on the podcast. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.